Gentlemen, thank you again for your time, first of all, to speak with me today. This was just a tremendous documentary. It was moving, it was ups and downs. I cried, it made me smile, and it was just incredible, and make us painfully aware of how the justice system is not allocated to people the same way, and at any time, at any
Yeah.
time. Beginning with you, Mike. How did you first connect with Tommy? This has been, like you said, it's been a journey for you, to free your parents and to make sure their story is told accurately. Sometimes details of these types of important stories are left out when they're told by the wrong people. How did you and Tommy initially connect to bring this to life?
Well, there were a lot of different filmmakers who wanted to do the story of Move, and they wanted to talk about the bombing of Move, and they wanted to talk about um, a lot of different things. And Ramona Africa, who is one of the members, she had her and I had done so many different interviews with so many different people around the film, making a film, and she introduced me to a couple other filmmakers, and then she said, "Hey, those other ones seem to be kind of dead ends, but we got." I met Tommy. This guy, his name is Tommy Oliver, and he seems to be, he seems to be good. And I didn't know what to think, but I hadn't had a lot of good experiences necessarily. They weren't terrible, but they were dead ends mostly. And so she asked me to come to this one meeting with him and her, and I came. And when I met him, we just we just really hit it off right away. I mean, two black guys around the same age, both from Philly, both had tumultuous upbringings, and both believed in this thing about persevering and not letting your past define your future, and making and creating your own way, your own, So I think just off of that energy, we kind of connected without even really talking about the film much at all. But then when he did kind of fall into the groove of how he was going to make the film, it by then we were already friends.
Yeah.
Tommy, when you're constructing a project like this, the simple answer is you're following an exact timeline from the origin of when Move was there at the house to them going to trial to going to jail. But it's more like a tree, because many parts of the story splinter off into other
Hmm.
things. What was the process like of constructing a timeline to make sure you were hitting what needed to be told to paint a whole picture of what happened to Mike Africa Sr. and the other members of the Move movement who were in prison?
It was sort of like, remember the old Apple headphones where if you put them in your pocket and you take them out 20 minutes later, where it would take you 20 minutes to untangle them,
Mhm.
where it was just all over the place. And it's like there is a straight line somewhere in there, but it's really hard and takes a lot of effort. And you might wind up popping off an earpod if you pull too hard. And it was a lot because there was no definitive account of what happened on August 8th, nor the specific events that led to it. And so it required a ton of research to understand, a ton of things that required corroboration, a ton of unearthing things that hadn't seen the light of day in 40 years. And so I didn't go into it wanting it to be a specific or certain thing. I just wanted to understand the story. And in order to communicate the story, I had to understand it. And so there were really three of us on my side who did a ton of research. And so it was myself, my executive producer slash archival producer, Keith Giannett, and then my co-editor, Joe Kehoe, where we just spent month after month after month after month after month looking through every single detail and pulling. Keith at one point digitized 10,000 pages of court transcripts that had never been transcribed. And then we went through every single page of them,
Mhm.
every single page. And so it was just trying to understand this thing and understand the why and the how and then the people. because even if you understand the event, the tableau, there's still the people in this. And for me, it's always about the people and the emotion and understanding who, not just the what.
Mike, when by bringing this to life for people to watch on HBO, what is it a finality? Is it a healing? Is it closure? Because it's going to conjure a lot of emotions. We're getting a very intimate look into your personal life and journeying through the, reaching the end of your parents being released. Does it reopen old wounds? Was it cleansing? What was it like to see the final finished product for all of us to consume?
Yeah, it was all of those things. I mean, it was some of it was gut wrenching. Like Tommy pulled out footage of the confrontation that I had never seen before.
Mhm.
I heard about my family getting beat, and I heard about them being arrested, but I had never seen my father thrown on the ground by the police. I had never seen my mother have my sister taken out of her arms by the police. I had never seen so much of that footage. So even though those people are here now and they're okay now, having to watch your parents go through that, and like as a father myself now, I mean, I can't imagine the type of strength that it takes for them to persevere after their baby was taken from them. I mean, I was born in a jail cell. My sister was 2 years old when they took her from my mom, and I have 4 kids myself. And just thinking about what type of feeling that I can't even imagine, if somebody took my daughter from me and separated us for 40 years. So a lot of it is just watching it. When Tommy came to Philadelphia, we did the premiere where he did a small screening for my family. A lot of the time that the movie was being shown, I didn't even watch the movie. I just watched my family. I watched them watch it for the first time. I watched their emotions and just observed their interaction with each other while watching themselves as young people and watching themselves hear the police talk about they should not have went to jail. They should have went to the morgue, and watching each other look at people that are their brothers and sisters that aren't here anymore. So it brought out a lot of emotions, brought out a lot of memories that you thought that you might have thought was gone. But then, as soon as you start to push play on that video, a lot of that stuff that you thought was gone, it comes right back, just like it never went anywhere.
I'm
Right.
so sorry to interrupt. We'll have to start wrapping up.
Okay. And lastly, Tommy, sometimes when you have documentary films where the city is almost like a character in the film, and that was the case with this, what would you call this in relation to Philly? I mean, it's obviously not a love letter. Is it an indictment? How would you characterize how this fits within the Philly landscape?
You're on mute.
Mhm.
It is interesting you say that because for me, it absolutely is a love letter to Philly. And the reason it's a love letter to Philly is, those times in relationships where you don't argue, where you don't fight, where you don't push back, that's when it's done. That's when it's already too late. And for me, I love Philly. I love Philly with all my heart. But Philly needs to fucking do better. And so this is a love letter to Philly. This is a holding up of a mirror and looking at exactly who the city is and who we are. I love Philly. But the idea of back in, I think it was maybe the end of June, the there was a video that was just fucking nasty, where there was a number of cops who were arresting a black guy, and he screamed out, "I can't breathe," and they screamed back at him, "That shit don't work here in Philly."
Mm.
Yeah. And so 40 years later, we're still fighting the same sort of things. We're still fighting against the same sort of things. But this isn't an indictment. This isn't, hey, I'm over you. This is, no, we need to do better. And when we forget what we did, when we forget our history, when we forget the decisions that we made, we are doomed to repeat them. And so, if anything, it's a cautionary tale, but it is absolutely a love letter to my city.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is just a tremendous piece of work. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you, Mike, for allowing us to know your family and their story. Thank you, Tommy, for your gifted direction and guidance. And again, thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.